Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shelbyville NOW's live coverage of election 2022. We will be covering our primary tonight, a Republican primary. With me, I have Mr. Bo Gill.
Hello.
Mr. Bill Anderson will be providing you with up-to-date coverage. We'll try to keep everything in here as fast as we can. But I want to say a special thank you to our sponsors tonight. We have Craig and Wheeler Realty as a sponsor, along with First Bank and the Winter Circle. If you would just hang on and let's hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back to begin coverage. Okay, gang, welcome back. We want to get kicked off here by talking about what we're going to be covering tonight. We've got four main hot spots, four main hot races. We'll be taking a look at the sheriff race between Matt Griffey and Austin Swing, and mayor race, Chad Graham against Brent Smith. District 1 commissioners, we have three running, Maddox, Hooker, and Sarsfield, and District 5 commissioners, Sweeney, Johnson, and Finch. Guys, what have you heard on the street? What's the latest?
It could go either way. You hear one way, and then you hear the other way.
Yeah. What about election turnout? What are you thinking? We had 2,800 votes.
I hear it's low today, but I am hearing in the city. Now, this is what I was hearing. It's really, really low in the city, but it's a little better in the county. But I think overall it's low. Now the question is how low. So if we had 28 early vote, I'm thinking you may not have 1,000, 1,400 vote election day, if that many. And this turnout being this low, folks, it could go either way. Yeah. I think a lot of people are mixed up here and kept thinking they could come back in August. But from all the sheriff's race is over tonight. You're going to know who your next sheriff is. And probably you'll have an independent candidate for mayor. But the mayor, this is more like a general election.
It is.
Not a primary.
It is. This is the election in most instances. But I do think the voter turnout, and a population our size, it's always been kind of low. I mean, I was hoping maybe for 5,000, this primary, but it looks like, with 1,800 early,
2,800. That was a good turnout. I thought early.
So I'm hoping we can at least get that, but
if one looks at it this way, if 8,500, 8,600 voted 4 years ago for mayor, you're looking at half that now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically your mayor.
That is.
And you may not get to half.
Well, so what do you do to get people out to vote in these primaries?
I just think there was a lot of confusion out here that people think that the general is in August. Now, let me ask y'all this question. Whatever the turnout was this time, what's it going to be in August? It may be even worse.
It probably will be worse.
Well, you're going to have some commission races, and you got several independents. You'll have some commissioner races, but you're really not going to have much of a mayor's race, I wouldn't think, and you're not going to have any sheriff's race. So it could be historically low come August.
There is a lot of confusion. I think you hit the nail on the head that they don't. I say the majority doesn't understand that this is the election.
Yes.
This is election for some major seats in our county government.
Right.
And like they do, you think the general's coming up, that's the big one, but this one right here is big, and I think the voter turnout, I'm hopeful that it's going to raise up, but it'll be determined here shortly. And that's what we're here for.
Well, if anybody's out there watching, there are several different ways you can watch. If you've got family members that are wanting to know how to get on, you can go to ShelbyvilleNow.com, and we've got a link right there at the top of the screen. You'll see a YouTube embedded link. Just click on it, and you can watch that way. You can go to our YouTube channel and link there. I know there's some people that are going to throw this up on big screen. So if you've got a smart TV, you can tune there and not have to stay on your phone or laptop. Or you can watch it on Facebook. Facebook Live. So we've got 3
Where's your
teams.
Twitter? You got any Twitter for us?
I don't have any Twitter.
No
man.
Twitter. Come on,
banned.
man.
He's
Man,
kicked
I
off.
got kicked off there a long time ago. Now Elon might
He might
call
accept
me
you.
back in.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
he might get me back in. But well, talking about these 4 races, you've got this District 1 race with Eric Maddox, Drew Hooker, and Mr. Sarsfield. Okay, 3 good guys.
3 really good guys. I agree.
And it was a dead heat, pretty much, in the poll. that
Now
I put
let's
up.
District 1 that consists of the Bell Buckle area, wouldn't you call it?
War Trace,
that?
Bell
War Trace,
Buckle.
Bell
Yeah,
Buckle.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the District 1. That's the district we're talking about. And I think you got 3 good candidates there.
I do too.
I've met each of these gentlemen. They've all got good platforms of their own. But I think that's going to be a contested kind of race there. I don't think they could go wrong there.
Well, you got 2 of them moving forward tonight,
You do.
and they'll face Mr.
Mr.
Gallagher,
Gallagher.
in August. So there's still some work to be done for whoever moves forward there. So
and that would
then
be
you
the
got-
incumbent, Mr. Gallagher. Correct.
Right, correct.
right. All right.
This
Then,
other seat that's open
Yeah.
was actually Brent Smith's seat.
yeah.
And then when he moved, he had to get off the commission
Right,
because he had
right.
sold his property like a lot of folks have, and he's out. So
Is this so? But this is a full term. This is
a full term, and then Bobby Fox came in and was appointed
Right.
to fill the seat, but chose not to run. But this was actually Brent Smith's seat 4 years ago. He won it
Okay.
handily, by the way.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very handily.
Right. Well, one other thing too, you can stay abreast of the vote count tonight by just looking at the caption at the bottom of the screen. We'll be rotating those in and out. I'm trying to do this and talk at the same time. So if I say something crazy, y'all
Is
just
it-
slap me and
Is it
we'll go
right
on.
down here? Is
Well,
that
we
where
got
it's at?
District 5, too, commissioners race that's contested. With
That's
Jeff
the
Sweeney.
one I want to talk about next. Now, that's
going to be
going to open up. If you look,
it gets crazy.
if you look in District 5 for August, you got Bo Wilson, Linda Yockey, Tracy Stasner, and Jim Walker, all as independents coming in to join that race with the other 2. So you got 2 to pick out of 6.
You've got the primary and the general are going to be hot on that one. That's going to be a big one to keep our eyes on for sure.
Well, I mean, you've got an incumbent Linda Yockey. The incumbent is Jeff Sweeney. Then
Yep.
you got Bo Wilson,
Got
who was on
former-
there for 20 something years. Linda Yockey's got over 20 years experience.
You've got that's an
That
interesting
will
cast.
be interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So,
That's what we got looking forward to in August right there.
right.
But even
so-
tonight, it is contested with
It
Jeff
is.
Sweeney, Scott Johnson, and Kelly Finch.
It sure
Right,
is.
right,
It sure
Right.
is.
So you're gonna have 2 of those moving forward.
Mhm.
All right. So obviously, we don't have any contestant coming up for the sheriff. So this is it for our sheriff.
Yes.
Okay. Then we have in the fall Misty Peller out of Unionville that's going to be running as an independent for mayor against the winner from tonight. So there's another election going to take place. Hadn't heard too much about Misty yet. So after this election, we'll probably hear something about her
Right.
and try to find out more about her. But for all practical purposes, we're focused on these 4 races tonight. There are others, Register of Deeds on the Democratic side. And then Tanya Davis will also be getting votes in District 7, District 8, Brian Brent and Julie Sanders in District 7, John Boutwell and Jason Boyette in District 8, which are uncontested.
But
So-
2 new commissioners, by the
Yes,
way, as Mr.
right.
Castle and Mr. Brown chose not to rerun, both the super
Right.
good guys. So you're going to have 2 new ones here for sure. And then the Brian Brent and Julie Sanders, both of them move on, but they will face Sylvia Pinson, the incumbent.
Right.
And Julie Sanders, being the other incumbent, will
Mhm.
face off in August. So
Right. And District 8 doesn't
It
have anybody.
doesn't have anybody.
So John Boutwell and Jason Boyette will be our
Correct.
commissioners in District 8.
You've also got Michelle Murray that's running unopposed.
Right.
also.
Yeah.
Right.
These will all be getting votes today. But we're not going to focus on those because they're not contested. We're going to be focusing on those 4. Now, since we have a commissioner here, we did our show the other day, and there's so many things that I've thought of since we talked.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Beaufort County Commission for the rest of this year. What's on the table that's important for
The big thing
citizens
that will
of
be
Beaufort
coming
County?
up is we'll hear about our budget thing will start. And that usually we'll get our book probably this month, maybe next month. And that will be in July. We'll be voting on the budget.
You
That's
vote in
always
July,
We vote in June.
June.
July 1 is the effective part of the
Gotcha.
new year. The
Okay.
budget thing will just usually happens at the June meeting, and then they'll have a cleanup vote at the end of June. So that'll be the first big thing that's coming.
All right.
It'll be
So
the budget.
anything else happening that's big? I mean, what I mean by big is where it's important for the citizens of Bedford County.
There's
to do.
constantly zoning changes,
Right.
and
All this is good.
all this is, we got all sorts of things coming up, where this one's getting commercial, this one's ag one, or this one's that, or light industrial and all those type things. And then we've still got to talk about the industrial park things that are going to come up if we ever get to talk about them. But that would be another item.
Okay. All right. Just today, I think it came out that we had a big decision made on a development north of town by the county, by the zoning board, was it?
Yeah, I think it was a unfavorable recommendation to the
commission
for the PUD on Longview Road.
Okay, explain again what a PUD is, Bo.
It's a planned unit development.
All right, describe that to us.
It's a community that is kind of shrunken down with zero lot line, maybe right beside each other or possibly touching each other with a firewall in between. It might have a recreation area, a community pool, several amenities, and also they'll be paying a fee, a HOA fee. But it'll be a gated type community with nice, residential homes. But that's kind of the norm in cities, out in the county. I mean,
well, this is my question, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but is it 100 acres? Somebody told me it was 100 acres. Is that close to being what this was?
I'm not really sure. I think it was, and they probably had it spaced out with the amount of houses in the article is the only thing I'm familiar
So the
with.
question I have is, if you had 100 acres and the three of us had it, and we all three wanted to put a house on the 100 acres, they're probably going to tell us there's 3, 4, maybe 3 or maybe 5 spots on the whole 100 acres, right? When you let these big companies from Nashville and all these subdivisions come in, where are these septic tanks going? How come all of a sudden you got 135 septic tanks on the 100 acres that they told us when we owned it had 4 or 5 perk sites?
Well,
How do you put those in the ground?
Well, I know there are types of systems out there
There's
that are above ground.
Well, there's the above ground, which is a new kind of technology to bypass the soil having to be percolated.
Right.
But there's also the step systems.
Right.
That are in certain subdivisions. I know in Bedford County and in Marshall County, I know that subdivisions that are out in rural areas, they have their own. It's basically public sewer, but it's basically a sewer, but privately maintained. I'm not sure if that's handed off to the county, but there are different ways to get around that, or not get around it. I mean, you still got to have the percolation in the soil. I mean. But there are new technologies coming up, I think, that are getting those. And most of the people that will move into there will be, I wouldn't say maybe not all, but most will be coming from, out of town areas. And that could create a new community in a rural area, which if you're there living your whole life, that could cause a lot of worry and anxiety, for that to come. And I could see both sides of it.
But it is still on the books that you have to have 5 acres to build that. Like you want to go out and date and build a house.
Yeah.
You got to have 5 acres, right?
Okay, but that's off the table when these guys come.
When these guys come in, and maybe I'm kind of glad they probably did turn this down, because I don't know that we talked about the other day. We're growing and that's good, but maybe we're growing a little too fast here too.
Yeah, we're growing
because
too fast.
We got to keep our ag community in mind, where people still have farms and we have
our identity.
Our identity is agriculture. Our identity is walking horses and cattle and crops.
Right, and that's what draw people here.
It makes it so beautiful.
Exactly, and if we have the residential growth at the pace that we've been having it, we've already outrun our infrastructure. Now we don't have businesses to support this, so we're naturally going to lose it, and it's just a catch-22.
And it's not speaking from a non. It's not like I don't want change, thing. It's you want that healthy change, but you have to plan it out in a certain way to where you're ready for that change. And when you get growth for the sake of growth, it can be a big problem.
Yeah, you can see how Murfreesboro has struggled.
Murfreesboro still
they can't keep up with it. They're growing so fast, it's just outrun everything.
They widen the road, and then it needs to be wider.
Yeah. But the same thing could happen here at a smaller level. We just got to be smart about it, and that's why it's important for our community to get out and elect the right candidates.
Right.
And that's why I think people need to educate themselves on what really is going on. They need to understand how the commission works, which I'm still learning. I had it pictured in my mind one way, and when I see it unfold in front of my eyes, it's nothing like I thought. So I think people have got to educate themselves on our local political system here.
And they can. It's accessible. It's accessible. Your commissioners are accessible.
Are
They're
they?
in the county. Well, I hope so. They should be. Because
Well, I'll just be
I
honest
was,
with you,
I was
Bo.
the first one to put my cell phone on the county website. Me and Chuck Heflin were the first two to do it. And some of them looked at me and said, "You did what?" I put my cell phone out there.
You're
Hey,
a servant.
I take
you
calls from
represent-
people in my district, your district, whoever
Listen,
calls.
with the
Always have.
technology we have today, a commissioner ought to be able to send out an email and ask his constituents what they think about a certain topic and get an answer just like that, or have an open forum on Facebook or anywhere. With the technology we have, it should happen just like that. There shouldn't be a question of what the constituents think.
I will
Yeah.
remember when we did the courthouse and we built the Justice Center. I had several town halls up on the square. Those business
Yeah.
owners, I had several
Yeah.
of them, and this response was great. I would like to see more of those type things.
I think that's healthy for a community. An informed community or district is healthy. They are confident in the decisions
Right.
that their representatives make.
Well, let's do it. Let's just have town hall meetings. Let's set up something. I'll broadcast it here on Shelbyville Now and put the feed out. Let's get 2 or 3 commissioners, and even goes with the city, and just take questions from the public.
I have
I
no
mean,
problem with that at all.
I think that's the type of transparency that we need
But
to
I
see.
would love to see at the committee, usually on the commission level, I will say that they don't let you speak at the meetings unless we suspend the rules. That's just the rules of the commission. However, at our committee meetings, which I would love to see be more entailed, meaning sometimes I feel like that we could do more with our existing committees and not have these secondary committees. Let's just use what's there. Like if it's
Right.
property or whatever, we've got a courthouse and property committee. Let it be handled there. And I think we do a really good job of letting the public speak at those.
Yeah.
The problem is the public doesn't come.
They can't.
Well, our committees are at 5:00. It's the finance meetings at 4:15, but we do have our committee starts at 5:00.
It's hard for people.
3 in a row.
You
But
got,
they can. I mean, they can come. But you're
yeah, but it's impossible. I mean, there's no way I can get away unless I just leave work.
But
early.
do they have them all on online?
Yeah, you can watch.
So
it.
you can attend it online if you.
Yeah,
want
I've
to.
watched some of them.
So there's
Oh,
accessible.
they're
It's-
accessible.
Usually
you
you
can
don't
go
have
back and
people
look
come
at
and say have a complaint, and then you'll have a group of citizens
Yeah,
come and
right,
complain about
right,
whatever.
right. Okay.
But
All
yeah, we do a really good job, I think, of letting the public speak at
That's
those
it.
things.
Well, let's take another quick break.
Sure.
And we'll come back and we'll talk some more politics and try to get things started here with some returns. It should be about 7:00, and we should be starting to get returns at that point. We've got somebody at the Election Commission that's going to be funneling those to us as fast as possible. So just stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
I love doing it. Like these shows, like.
All right, gang. Welcome back in here. We're about 15 minutes away from getting some results. Well, actually 10 minutes away. We expect to get some early voting results in about 10 minutes or a little after. As soon as the polls close, they're allowed to post those. And guys, what are you thinking on this early election? I know that our poll at Shelbyville Now said about 70% of the vote was coming in on early voting, and then the 9% weren't going to vote at all that took the poll, and then the balance was they would vote on election day, which it ended up being about 20%, 70, 20, and 9, 70, 71%. 20 and 9. What do y'all feel about that? How do you think that's going to affect this election?
Well, the old standard was 60-40.
Right.
That's changed, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
And
obviously.
it may be more like 75-25 until we start seeing how well did the county come out, if I'm right, and what I've heard about the city being really low. That's where most of your people are. But again, that could be a little different too if the city heavily early voted versus the county.
Okay.
But the way election day looks, it appears the county voted heavier than the city.
Okay. All right. Let's look at the sheriff race. How does that play out? What does that do? Swing and Griffey. We got Matt Griffey, Austin Swing. How do those turnouts reflect in the election? Or do we even know? I mean, we don't have enough numbers to really know.
With this few that voted, I think it's hard to call it. It could really just be either way.
Yeah. I had about 1,000 people take the poll on Shelbyville Now. I had one earlier, and it was about 65% Griffey, 35% Swing, and about 450 voted in that one, but 1,000 voted in the second poll, and it was 65-35. And I don't know if that's an indication of who all was on Facebook. That's because that's where it was, versus the entire voting block. I know Facebook has a lot of older people in it, and today I'm hearing that a lot of young people went out and voted.
I've heard that.
So what does that mean? What does that mean for this? We'll find out soon, but I just want to hear your prediction.
I just sort of think that maybe the fact that if the county voted, and we don't know this yet, but if the county voted heavier than the city, I don't think it's good for the incumbent in either race.
Yeah.
That's just my guess is if the county voted heavier than the city, it's probably better for the challengers.
What do you attribute that to?
People wanting to change, people wanting to think something different.
I think that's just in the air, and the numbers and the election could turn out totally different.
Totally different, absolutely.
Do y'all think that COVID has anything to do with people just wanting change in government everywhere? I've thought about that, and I thought,
I don't know.
I don't know. I
don't think it's as strong anymore. Maybe in certain
up north,
areas. Yeah,
but not here.
You don't think it affects it here?
If it is, it's minuscule, I would think.
Okay. Well, I pose that question because I've been thinking about it. I'm trying to overthink, and just go through all the minds of voters, but you can't. You don't know what's going to happen.
No.
All right, so polls don't matter. We put that poll up for fun and just to take a temperature of people at that time.
Right.
And that's what we got. We got the same result in the mayor race.
Now, the other old school thing that I will say that was always told was low turnout was good for the incumbent. That's one of those old rules. The heavier the turnout, the better for the challenger. Right. But I'm just going to take the opposite tack that I took about if the county is better than the city. But the other side, you could say, well, if the turnout's low, it somewhat favors the incumbent. Well, we might mention it if you wanted to, David, where these guys that are all of them on all sides of these elections, where they're having their things at. I think the mayor's having his out the Ag Center.
Yeah.
The sheriff is out here at the VFW.
Right.
And then
the sheriff Austin
Swing
is at VFW, and then you got in Ward Trace at the
Iron Horse.
Iron Horse.
You've got Matt Griffey, Brent Smith, and Drew Hooker, and I'm not sure who else. But so you got people sitting back watching, and I hope they're tuned in here to Shelbyville Now. We're about 6 minutes away from the polls closing. Let's talk about some of these precincts. We got Ward Trace and Bell Buckle. It's in the first district. So those two will be the cumulative total for District 1. So we've got those will be the two precincts that will be reporting Maddox, Hooker, and Sarsfield, the District 1 commissioner's race. So we're going to watch those two real close. That's the key for those two guys is where those votes are coming from. And then we've got District 5, which is Flat Creek and Normandy, which now you predicted that we're going to have a delay. And you mentioned that it could be Flat Creek.
It just has been in the past.
Right,
I can go back the last 10 years. It's been
all right. Okay, what's going on now?
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't know.
Is it Jeff Haynes causing problems?
It could be Jeff Haynes.
It's Jeff Haynes and Flat Creek News. They're delaying the process, obviously. So we're going to have to get on the phone with him, tell him to get out of the way, or have him here and just
have Jeff here. That'd be all right.
That would be good. So we've got those two, District 5, District 1. We're going to be definitely watching those four precincts close. And then we've got Fairhaven, which is District 2, which you're going to have some votes for your sheriff and mayor coming from. And that's always a pretty good turnout at Fairhaven, from what I understand. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think we might expect to see 300 or 400 people voting. What do you think?
I heard the turnout was pretty good there.
I drove by there. Yeah, it seemed
pretty good turnout. Okay. All right, then you've got Unionville and Bedford. Both of those, I know Bedford had pretty good turnout. I don't know about Unionville. I hadn't talked to anybody from out there.
I heard Unionville was a pretty good, pretty good turnout anyway. And again, pretty good is in relation then when we go to the city here in a minute, where I just heard it was not very good today. But most of those people may have early voted. We don't know. But from what you're hearing,
I heard, and it was all before everybody got off work. You have, a couple hours of voting time. They could have piled in. I
heard things of certain one or two places, 10 voting, 11, 12 today.
That's not good.
It's not good at all.
Now, there was still time. That was at 4 o'clock or something.
Right. All right. So we've got about 4 more minutes, and we should start to see some activity coming in here. I'm going to have to disengage a little bit, let these two knuckleheads pick up some of the conversation here. Bill, talk a little bit more about county government. I've just, we have had several conversations over the years.
Oh yeah.
And if you see maybe, let's say, 5 or 6 seats change, what does that do to the complexion of the commission and the Bedford County entire government?
I think it'll make it more conservative.
More conservative.
What if that happens and the mayor changes? Does that even throw a bigger?
Well, if you don't see it, if the mayor were to change and the commission doesn't change much, kind of hinders what the mayor can do, because the mayor is at behest of the commission.
Right.
And as I said Saturday on here, Bo Wilson will tell you, can you count to 10? Because that's the magic number on the county commission, 10 votes. Now, right now, what I would call the conservative side when we're voting on things is probably way outnumbered. It's probably more like 14, 15 to 3 or 4. You just change 4 or 5 and get it back to that 8, 9 level and a little tighter. It'll make things more interesting. But, and it was Jonathan Parker. I don't know if you know Jonathan. Yeah. And I'm going to give him a shout out, because I thought the world of his daddy, Paul Parker.
Yeah.
He sent me this text today. He had watched the interview that David and I done Saturday, and this was really great. Government does not have 1 penny until it takes that penny from someone else. Were there ever truer words spoken?
That's exactly it. Now, our federal government has a printing press.
Oh, yes.
And they've been rolling that bad boy.
But who gives that money? It's the people.
It's the people.
So the people are the government that put the servant. There should be a servant of the people in those roles.
And when you're spending it, and that's what I spoke on Saturday, I'll do it again, is being a good steward of taxpayer money. And it is other people's money. You don't spend it that way. Yeah. Spend it like it's yours, you'll never have a problem. But when it's someone else's money, it's a little easier to spend it.
Mm-hmm. And that mindset would really help with the, I think the education of people when they say, they did this or they did that. This is y'all. That's why it's good to meet, I think, with your county commissioners, with your city council, with things. Get involved, go to meetings. I mean, just get them involved so you can have a say-so in where your money's going.
We've got that leadership Bedford here, and I will say they do a nice job of coming to a lot of the meetings. I wish more people came and understood how it worked and came to the meetings.
And it would take, and it is.
And we're more involved in it.
Yeah, and it is confusing to a lot of people. But, once you get in it, if you try to understand and educate yourself more, it's just like with these elections here. I mean, when you go in blindly, I would say not vote. If you're going to, you need to be an educated voter. You need to know what you're going in to vote for, and what are the real issues to go vote for. So that goes into the just educating yourself, wanting to know more, and then you can have a right to complain. I think that you can have a right to complain.
One thing I've always thought, I think people sit back if they don't pay property taxes. If they rent, they think, well, I don't pay property taxes, so I'm not even going to get involved. They're paying property taxes.
That landlord
is
charging you. You're paying the property tax. You're paying.
And if you register a vehicle, the county gets some proceeds from that, doesn't it?
Right.
All right. And then if you're sales tax, you're paying sales tax. So everybody out there has skin in the game.
We do.
And should be involved in the process.
Absolutely.
And my campaign going forward with Shelbyville Now is to try to educate people and get more people voting at the booth. I mean, that's just what we got to do.
And when you do see an increase in the property tax, whether city, county, or both, if you're renting, just know your rent's going up. guarantee it.
Yep.
It's going up.
Absolutely.
With growth and change comes, opportunities and market growth. And right now with the housing market we have, when values are going up, if the owner's in control, if that renter wants to go out, they can get the next one in there and that'll be paying it.
All right, guys, it's 7 o'clock now.
7 o'clock.
Polls have closed officially.
Officially closed. Too late.
And I'm thinking that we'll start getting some results here in the next couple of minutes. Hopefully, we'll start getting those from our source. She's up there with a phone and a tablet and all kinds of stuff. And no, she just got that. She's gonna email this in to us or text it in to us. So I've got to be on the lookout for that. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and thank you, Bill, for being here.
Yes,
and
sir. Yes,
sir. Yes.
I know it's going to take a little time here. That's another thing. How quick do you think we're going to get these results in and get over with here?
I've just never seen it go that fast. I think with a lower turnout the way it is, it should be fairly quick.
Right.
Should we know?
I remember sometimes it's 8:30, quarter to 9. I've seen it on both ways.
We're going to have a lot to talk about if it goes that long. But do you think that we'll be able to get
it? Bedtime.
Yeah, it already is.
Do you think we'll be able to get an indication though early of
I think early
voters.
I think the early votes are going to set the standard.
Do they dump those numbers out early? Will it be a slow release of numbers?
No, that's one big total. But
on the precincts though, it'll be a slow kind of drip.
And
that's what we're hoping that Flat Creek or whatever doesn't.
It would be nice if they would do what the early vote was for the county and then go back and put it in the precincts later. What may delay this is if they mix it together and then want to give it to you precinct by precinct. That may be the delay. I'm not sure which way they're going to do it. But I think the early vote, whatever it is, but looks like it's going to decide it though, because it appears
the sheer numbers.
Just the sheer numbers of that way.
If we could get those numbers,
you're going to know
where we're at. Know. Almost enough to where you can say, well, this race is done.
Yes.
If they'll give them to us like that. So
unless there was a huge turnout between 5 and 7, some places there could have been that might affect some of these commissioner races in particular.
Yes,
a lot of people.
That's for sure.
Ward Trace and Bellbuckle decided they were going to go vote.
Yeah, if they pulled in here at 5 o'clock from work and they went and voted, it could have flooded them a little bit.
And I know Flat Creek has a tendency a lot of times to a lot of those guys vote 5
at the last
6.
Yeah. A lot of farmers.
But the early votes changed everything, and I think a lot of people are taking advantage of it. I voted today at East Side, which I'm District 6.
Right.
I think Dickie Overcast told me it was like 10 o'clock. I think I was the 4th person to vote on that machine. So that was not a good indication, but
no, it's not.
Maybe it got better as the day went on.
I hope so.
I do too.
You want to go over the candidates again and the races we have? I'll just go over them right quick. For county mayor tonight in the primary, we've got Chad Graham and Brent Smith. For sheriff, we've got Austin Swing and Matt Griffey. In the commissioner's race, Bedford County Commissioner District 1, we have Eric Maddox, Drew Hooker, and Chris Sarsfield. In District 5, we've got Jeff Sweeney, Scott Johnson, and Kelly Finch. Other races, commissioners, District 7, Brian Brunton and Julie Sanders. District 8, John Boutwell and Jason Boyette. And then you've got some uncontested races, Register of Deeds, Johnny Reed, Trustee Tanya Davis, County Clerk Michelle Murray. And we're the 7 o'clock it's passed and the votes are being counted as we speak. So we should have some numbers coming out to you pretty in just a few minutes.
Those of you in District 8, you just might find this interesting. John Boutwell actually served on our school board for a number of years in that capacity. And Jason Boyette, who's going to be your other new commissioner, that is our former city manager and current county HR director, Shannon Boyette's husband.
That's right. He's a teacher. He's a
teacher at Thomas Intermediate School.
Yeah, that's right. He's been there a long time.
I call him the first man of Shelbyville.
There you go. Something that's very interesting. I think something very interesting. I want to hear your comments on it, Bill, since you're commissioner, is when we get to August, we've got District 4 with Anita Epperson, Ron Ferris, and Diane Neely.
Very interesting.
You've got 2 women and a man. All right.
Yep.
Are they going to gang up on him? What are they going to do, Bill? What's up? Right?
Well, Diane's been a great school board member for a number of years.
Yeah. How long has she been on that thing? 20 years? I don't know. It's been that long.
Diane, you might want to call us and tell us, but it's been a long time she's been on there. She's always done a very good job. She asks the right questions.
And sometimes they're tough questions.
And sometimes they're tough questions. And Diane's a good one. Anita's been a good one. Brian's a great guy. That one's going to be real interesting. Brian's the SRO out at Liberty. He touches a lot of people.
Yeah.
I will say this: Anita Epperson's done a phenomenal job, in my opinion, as a commissioner. She's been great.
Yeah,
she's
we had her on live stream 4 years ago.
Yes.
When we were
So
talking
you've got
about
two
tax
incumbents in Brian and Anita, right?
Right.
And then you've got Diane, which
So
is
he's going to be moving over from the school board like John Bowell is, but you only one of them will win. But that's going to be an interesting race.
That will, and that'll be in the general election in
The
August.
general in August.
Yeah.
Won't be as interesting as District 5, though. Wow. That's going to be a lot of folks.
Oh, yeah, that's-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Former account.
And one current and one 20-year veteran, 24-year veteran, and Bo Wilson.
Yeah, he
And then
was
the
what,
incumbent?
24 years? And how long's he been out? 8? Or 4?
8, and I think he ran 4 years ago, and he lost by 13 votes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he did.
13 votes.
And then,
is all it was.
then just tonight, Jeff Sweeney, Scott Johnson, Kelly Finch. Hey,
Yeah, I mean, you saw, I saw Jeff signs up, and I didn't see anybody else's really.
I saw Scott's.
I saw a few Scots.
Yeah.
I didn't see Kelly's anywhere, but we did an
No, I
interview,
didn't.
and he's well known in
He
the
is.
area.
Good man. Yes.
Agriculture farmer.
Yes, he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Hard-working man.
Yep.
Anxious to see how that turns out as
It's
well.
going to be a good one tonight.
Well, we're
and
still
in the
waiting
fall.
here to try to get some results in. It is now 7:06, and still no word from the commission, from the election headquarters. So we should be getting something real soon.
All right. Let's see here. I would say with the districts, whenever they report, they're just going to kind of trickle it out a little bit.
Well, they'll report their whole precinct.
They'll report. They won't
they won't-
report a little bit. They report what they got.
That's it. I mean, their precinct. This is from War Trace. Boom. That's what it's going to be. So we're going to have 9 hitting us plus the absentee. Then
One would think the city would come in first, wouldn't you? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's electronic these days. I'd say they should come in all at once, but
Maybe
I don't
because
know.
they're closer into where they count them. Maybe that would be the reason. I would think, but I don't know.
I know one thing. I'm sure Summer Leverett will be glad when tonight's over. I'm sure that office is
Well,
absolutely
I'm gonna take this.
inundated during the election.
I'm gonna take this time to say hello to everybody over at the Iron Horse.
Yeah,
I know
Hey.
they got us up on the big
All
screen
right.
over there watching. So hello to everybody at the Iron Horse. I know we got 3 candidates over there, and everybody that's with them, their families and friends. Glad you guys have tuned in.
Good luck to
We're
you.
sitting here
Yes,
waiting, and I know everybody's on pins and needles, sitting over there waiting, and we're waiting too. So we'll get this info as quick as we can. Bill, as far as that budget that you mentioned earlier, you're going to vote in June. How much discussion goes into that process with the entire commission? Is most of it done in budget and finance, and then
Most of
brought?
Most of it.
Is there dialogue that takes place? Now, I hadn't really paid attention.
they're
to that in
raising
the
taxes
past.
something like 4 years ago. There was plenty of
Oh,
dialogue.
there's a lot of dialogue.
There's a lot of dialogue
Okay.
then.
All right. So what's the process?
But
You
they have
get it?
they have the budget committees with the department heads. And this was one of the things I did complain about because they're at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock noon. They're in the middle of the day, which again, you're county employee. It's easy to go to it or you're retired. But if you're working, you darn sure can't go at 10 o'clock.
And if you want to attend as the public,
It's hard to do too. And then, I mean, I've always said the same thing about the finance committee being at 4:15. That's rough on,
Okay.
to me, it should be 5 like the other committees, but they don't want to do that, which, okay. But yes, there should be more debate and more discussion about the budget.
Exactly.
It's a
So,
little better about this. I think Mayor Graham's done a better job of getting us the budget book. Because I can remember, and I love Mayor Ray, I can remember getting a budget book this thick. 2 days before we were supposed to vote on it. 600, 700, 800 pages. Now, how in the world? It's been a little better than that. Robert's done a better job with it. The mayor's done a better job this time with it. It's not been as bad. In fact, we've got it earlier every year, it seems like. But it was literally, you had 48 hours to digest 700 pages.
they
in
don't
this
want you
huge
to
binder.
digest that. They want you to just say, "Poof, it's good. Let's go." That's the way Congress operates.
That's Obamacare. So
Yeah, it's like they throw a book the size of this wall over here and say we're going to vote tomorrow on it. You got to hire about 5,000 people to come in there and read.
Well, there's no way you
There's
could possibly.
no
back
way.
then
No
you could
way.
have done that.
And-
you got to
and-
look up definitions, the
Okay.
words.
So when are you going to get this booklet?
I would assume we'll probably get it the next meeting in June, and then you'll have the rest of the month. Probably, maybe we might get it this coming month in May.
Okay,
maybe.
so you got a month to digest it.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
good.
been better.
Okay, so
I will say that.
do you vote on
We
it
will
in
vote on it
June?
in June, and then they'll come back for the final, what they call a cleanup budget vote, that you'll vote twice.
Right.
They'll come back in
Okay,
June.
so you're going to vote.
See, we're unlike the city. The city does readings, so they'll do like a reading and they vote on everything twice.
Okay, my question, that's kind of what I'm thinking the county should do. You guys should have a meeting to discuss and talk about all this stuff, and then come back for the final vote at a later date at another meeting.
So you're saying
Why
how
are
we
you
look at
you
the
going to
budget.
vote on it the same night you discuss it?
Right.
I mean, there's questions that
There are
might
questions. I do.
have to be answered that wouldn't be answered.
I'll
right
tell you
there
one
on
other
the
thing.
spot.
there are
Be a nice
questions and,
change.
and there could be, feelings and temper. You've got to kind of settle down sometimes and think about things. I think
Well,
that's,
it's
I
not
mean-
that expensive to do it. But when I've always said this too, we should go to some form of electronic voting, because if it's something controversial, it just seems like my name gets read first a lot. But anyway,
Okay,
that's fine.
all right.
But that's fine. But you see how your buddy voted over here. This one voted.
Yeah.
Or you see how it's going.
oh yeah,
Because a few things at times
Yeah.
I've said, you weren't for, so somebody I would say, well, you weren't for, well, it was going to pass anyway. Well, it might change things up if you didn't know how everybody was
It
voting.
would.
We all voted at the same time,
Yeah.
and we clicked the button, and it's not that expensive. And it could be so cheap as taking a ball cap if you had to, writing yes or no down with your name on it.
That's pretty
and reading it
simple.
out of a ball
That's
cap.
I
pretty
think
And
simple.
that would stop.
and also if you have to give a reason for why you voted yes or no, because a lot of times you need to be informed as a servant.
Well,
to do
here's
that.
the reason on all these votes. If somebody asked me, if I was a commissioner, somebody asked me, why did you vote that way? Because my constituents felt that way.
Yes.
About it. That's the way they wanted me to vote. Okay.
And as a commissioner, you should take the temperature, so to speak, of your constituents.
I will say one
So
other
you-
thing. I know I have the last 8 years. I voted no more than all of them probably put together. No, never
Mr.
hurt.
No.
But let me say this. I'm not no to everything, but I will say this. No never hurt anything, and no never raised your taxes, and no didn't take somebody's money.
That's true.
I'm just saying, if
Good to
you're
say
in doubt,
no.
vote no. I've never been a fan of the past vote. I've always made that clear. I think you're paid to vote,
Yeah.
yes or no.
That's right. I think you should vote on your own standing, your own
And you're
thought,
voting
and don't look
for
around.
and you're representing your constituents.
That's exactly.
And there's
what
been
it's
one or
supposed
two
to
times
be.
I've done some things that I personally, it's not me. I'm representing District
you are.
6.
You're
And occasionally you come, and if it comes down to what you personally think and what your constituents want, you need to vote for your
Always.
constituents.
That's
Always.
what your
That's
job
what you're
is.
doing.
That's what the job is. We're still waiting, guys. We don't have anything.
But
yet.
I really think that electronic type, especially with
would
all
be.
this renovating they're doing up here, throw that in
Why
there.
not? Why not?
Why wouldn't you do it?
Okay, here is a
How does the state do it?
Facebook comment.
Okay.
Whoever's elected, stop the drugs, tear down vacant buildings and eyesores, build up the economy. How does the government do that, Bill?
Well, let me ask you, let's talk about something else that I think we ought to talk about. Folks, we've got a homeless problem around here. I know that the city and the county people, we don't want to talk about it. Have y'all not noticed it? It's a problem.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Now, they're here, and there's a lot of, and they're coming from other towns to here. Now, why is that? And what can we do to stop it?
Well, I think it's a lot of giving to them and making them. If something comes, that means they're coming for a reason. So maybe they're getting things in Bradford County that they're not in other areas. Maybe they're getting a place to stay or a sanctuary spot to be. There are certain things, and I get that people, they have hearts for people.
I get that too.
And we do, we love people, but there becomes a time of personal responsibility.
But one worries that it's accessibility to free food.
I've always heard this. You can give a man a fish and feed him, or you can teach a man to fish
That's right.
for himself. And I think if we had something that got people and held to it. Now, I don't know. The churches, I know, have a big input in this, and I think that's where the churches individually
And I know their heart's in the right
Yeah,
place. I
they
know
wanna
that.
help
However,
people.
the end result is why do you drive to Tullahoma right now and you don't see what you see here? Drive over to Lewisburg,
They
you don't
don't
see it
take
like
it.
you do here because they're
They're
not
all
doing it.
here.
They're coming here.
They're all here.
When you have
And also back to the Facebook question, I have to wonder if it's not accessibility to drugs. It's a concern I have.
Well, that's something that needs to be, addressed because, we saw in the article we had a show on Ahead of the Curve about the meth problem that they had this big, and
Yeah.
we've known this for years, but apparently, that's become an even bigger problem. And And yeah, I'd say it's homeless. It's probably creating homeless. It's enabling homeless, but it's also in other communities.
But sometimes when you're driving in town or wherever and you see somebody just yelling at the street, kicking the air, you gotta wonder.
You got to wonder what's in, what's going on, and then does that become a safety issue?
And who's bringing them here, and why can't we send them back? Now, I've told a lot of them are coming out of Nashville. I know they're
All
coming
right,
here.
guys, we've got some early results.
All right.
This looks like for county mayor, we had 2,555 or 2,655 votes. We've got 1,719 for Chad Graham, 933 for Brent Smith. Okay, County Commissioner District 1, we had 158 for Drew Hooker, 131 for Eric Maddox, and 63 for Chris Sarsfield. Okay, for County Commissioner, we'll have to flip over to another page here. Comments on that, guys?
Oh, wow. We said it earlier that maybe it could go either way, but you said 17-19 on the mayor.
All right, our District 5, we have 140 for Kelly Finch, 300, and I can't even read this, 348 for Scott Johnson, 291 for Jeff Sweeney. Okay, so early votes, it looks like that Chad Graham has the edge there. Let's get the percentages on this.
That's massive.
64% for Graham and 35% for Brent, and then there was a write-in, the 3 write-ins. But it looks like it's Drew Hooker and Eric Maddox fighting it out for the first spot, and then Chris Sarsfield in 3rd place there. These reports I've got are real blurry, and you can't see them very well.
Now this is early voting.
This is early voting.
And did you say that's 2,655 total votes
For mayor.
or was that was just for the mayor?
That's what I just read them off. I have no idea
So
what.
right now, so far, it's the opposite of what the poll was.
It's the opposite of what Shelbyville Now's poll was.
Sure.
What about the sheriff's race?
Let's see here. I don't have anything on the sheriff. Let's go back and look. Don't have anything on sheriff on this
Now, this
report.
does make me think that the low turnout does obviously favor the incumbent.
It does. I would say that, and it could though.
Okay,
It could
sheriff
switch
race.
the other way also.
Sheriff race, we've got. I can't read these real good. There are 1,876 votes for Austin Swing, 792 for Matt Griffey. That's 70% for Austin Swing and 29% for Matt Griffey.
That's
And then we've got Circuit Court Clerk Michelle Murray. Of course, she's got 2,269. So these numbers do not match the total numbers that we had as a total amount of people voting.
That's what I
It's
was.
2,800 is
Well,
what.
but you've got people that don't necessarily vote for that mayor's race at 20. I mean, they don't vote in that race. You see what I'm saying?
Did
Right,
they vote
You
in
got
other?
2,800 maybe that early voted, but they didn't all vote for mayor. They didn't
Okay.
all vote for
Right.
sheriff, and that's what makes it a little off.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get some better copy here. So now we have to wait into each individual district. So that's where we are at the moment. I'm gonna get these numbers posted so we can have them on the screen.
So right now
I
we
need.
got.
Hold on just a second here. Let's get these captions up for
Okay.
mayor. We've got.
It's just it's something.
All right, Chad Graham.
Chad Graham, 17-19 votes.
Okay.
Brent Smith, 933. And this is early voting.
All righty.
Sheriff, Austin Swing, you've got 1,876.
All right.
1,876.
876.
Yes, sir.
And then Matt Griffey.
792.
792.
Next, we'll move to District 1 Commission. This is early voting only turnout so far, so we're waiting.
Yeah, this will be our totals. We're going to keep these totals up to date as much as we can. Okay.
Eric Maddox, 131. Drew Hooker, 158. And Chris Sarsfield, 63.
All right, guys, that's got the screens updated there. You will see the captions coming in. Let's get the District 5 now.
Okay, District 5. And again, this is early voting, so we just want to clarify that this is not the final count. This is just the results that we have so far. We've got Jeff Sweeney at 291. We've got Scott Johnson at 348, and Kelly Finch at 140.
Okay. All right, so that Sweeney is in the lead in District 5 by a pretty good margin.
No, it's
No,
Scott
Johnson is.
Scott.
Scott
Okay,
Johnson's in the lead.
348. I see it
Yeah,
now. Okay.
Yeah, Scott.
All right.
Scott's in the lead there, but that's you know, I don't. That's still close. It still could be anybody's.
Well, two of them are going to go. So Kelly Finch has got a lot of ground to make up.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's two of them. That's right. Yeah.
Two of them are going to go. Same thing with Eric Maddox, Hooker, and Sarsfield.
Right.
Two of them are going to move forward.
But it is interesting to note to see the numbers.
Yeah, and the
there.
poll obviously was the opposite.
It's
Backwards.
flipped. It's flipped.
It's
I
totally
think
flipped.
here's what you get into there. We had one outlet for the poll, for
Right.
social media.
And yes,
Um,
and it tended
you got-
to be conservative, and then you get that look, and then look at here what.
It
But
has
low
to do
turnout
with having-
favors an incumbent. I mean, that's one thing that it appears that the low turnout favors the incumbent. That's the old way of thinking, and it may still be correct.
I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of votes come in from the county, and a lot of those votes, can swing this. You've got 1,719 for Chad Graham, 933. So we're basically about 770 votes there.
Yeah.
And if we're, we've still got a ways to go here to see how this plays out. But that's our count at this point. 1719 for Chad Graham, 933 for Brent Smith. Is that what I gave you a minute ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly
Now,
right.
I've got a clearer copy now that's come in. That's a lot easier to read.
Okay.
She's taking pictures of these, and she's kind of in a crowd of people there. So we've got, it looks like 2,655 total votes for mayor, which that's
the total votes in early voting
that's
for the
not
mayor.
the numbers, and that's kind of got me puzzled a little bit.
I think that like Bill hit on it, that maybe a lot of people just didn't vote for the mayor. If we had
And for that
2,800,
mayor's race, yeah.
if we had 2,800 in early voting, then
Well, for example, the sheriff's race, it looks like 2,668 voted for sheriff.
Yeah.
So there is.
it could have happened that way.
You've
too.
got 13 more people voted for
Well, I'm
sheriff.
gonna give you the numbers that should be a little clearer, but it's not. I've got 1,878 for Austin Swing, 792 for Matt Griffey. Is that what we had before?
I had 876 or 878.
It could be 876. I still can't
Okay.
see it. It's
Well,
not.
two votes anyway.
I'm gonna try to get her to give me a better resolution.
So and then you got 792 for Matt Griffey, and then in the commission on the commissioners District 1, Eric Maddox 131, Drew Hooker 158, and Chris Sarsfield 63. And then District 5, Jeff Sweeney 291, Scott Johnson 348, and Kelly Finch 140. So
All right, so that takes care of our early voting. Let's take a quick break here, and we'll come back in about 2 minutes or a minute and a half or so. So we're going to take a quick break here and get our figures together and hopefully have some more results in. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back here in just a couple of minutes. this laptop through the wall.
I know that.
Okay, everybody, we've got those early returns in now. They should be on your screen and the captions there. Early lead now for Chad Graham, incumbent, and Austin Swing, incumbent. And then we've got District 5 commissioners, Jeff Sweeney and Scott Johnson. Scott Johnson, 348, Sweeney, 291. Those are the early votes. That one's close enough there to where these votes that came in today on election day could play a factor. Same thing with District 1 with Maddox, Hooker, and Sarsfield. You've got Maddox and Hooker are running close, 131 to 158. Mr. Sarsfield was 63. And again, that's so few votes, and you got those coming in today, that could be a flip. I mean, you don't know how that's going to turn out. But these other two races, the mayor and the sheriff race, we've got an early lead for the incumbents, and all now hinges on the districts that we see. We're really looking for a big number from War Trace in Bell Buckle and Flat Creek in Normandy. When those come in, that's going to set the tone, I believe, guys.
I think you'll have big. Yeah, I think those are the key areas. Bedford community too. I've heard a good turnout there, so that could be, we could still be surprised. We could be surprised either way of how this is going to turn out.
Okay, just to update my figures here. I need the figures on Sweeney, Johnson, and Finch that we just got in. Who has those? Y'all got
Sweeney 291,
291,
Scott Johnson 348,
348,
Kelly Finch 140.
140. Okay. Again, the votes coming in from Flat Creek out there and Normandy. Flat Creek would probably be the bigger number, wouldn't you think, Bill?
Yeah, historically, yes.
Okay. So we've got that got that to look at.
But it just makes you wonder if the theme wasn't the early vote again, and that's where the majority of that vote was. 60-70% early vote, even out there.
Yeah, the poll said 70%.
So,
so is there enough gap now? Did that, if that figure held up, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be real tough.
But if it didn't hold up and it was more people voting today out in the county than what we think, then that could change everything.
It could change everything.
We just don't know. So we're going to have to wait for those
numbers. The early vote was
in.
70%.
Yep. And
you probably know.
You just don't know.
So that could be, the voter. Let's think if this, at this time, the numbers we have, let's think about the voter. What is the voter thinking with that? I mean, I guess he likes what he sees in there and the has hope for the future that's going on. I mean, I'm not sure, but it seems like that he's translated that by looking at these numbers, which we could be surprised. Was Brent able to get his message across of change, of his platform enough?
Yeah.
And yet it's early to be determined, but it makes you wonder. It brings questions up.
Yeah. Well, here's something to think about. We've got, how many county employees do we have in the county? Counting teachers.
You got a bunch. It's the biggest employer there is.
Exactly. It's the largest employer in Bedford County. That's a large voting block with their families.
Absolutely.
If you take And if the message is that there's going to be a lot of changes in our county government, those people are going to want to stick with the incumbent always. And I know there's a lot of that going on.
And low voter turnout.
Well, people get comfortable. They get comfortable where they are, and they
don't like change.
And they're scared. They don't like change.
And that's why we've got to encourage more people to get out and vote.
Absolutely.
And
you got over 50,000 people in this county.
It's
and look at this right here.
Yeah.
We might not have 5,000 votes.
Oh, we won't.
We won't.
I mean, I was hoping we could have 5, but out of what 30? How many Bedford County? So we've got 50,000
and
people.
4 years ago, it was 8,500 or 80 something, 8,000 something, wasn't it? Right at 8.
Yeah.
So we're looking at half of what voted 4 years ago.
What do we do? How do we get people?
Well, that was a general election, though.
This sort of is too.
I know.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem that people didn't realize.
People didn't realize that is a low number
It kind of
for
sprung
early
up on
voting.
people,
But
maybe.
I think there's going to be people tomorrow going, "Well, I didn't vote."
Right. I think there is too.
Well, then they're going to have to
I'll
learn a
have to
lesson.
vote in August. Well, yeah. 2 of them are decided.
And then I wonder how low will the turnout be in August?
It probably once
It's
they
probably
figure
gonna be,
out.
I would assume, lower than this.
Yeah, once they it will be. I would assume also, but it's just the if you're uninformed, I mean that's the only way is you're gonna have to wait through that's what voters do. Voting can make a difference. It has consequences. That's what they always say. Elections have consequences.
Yeah.
And that's true and in every scenario. So the only way to change that is to get out there and have your voice. And you think your one voice or one vote doesn't matter. It matters because they all add up.
And we might go back over if y'all want to go see the mayor. He's out at the Ag Center. And the sheriff's down here at the VFW.
Yeah, I mean you got
and then we've got
Brent and a few of the commissioners are at the Iron Horse and War Trace.
Yeah. Let's get out and at least thank these guys because it takes a lot of guts to run,
It sure
whether
does.
you're won or lost. And we need more involvement and we need people running. And
A lot of work.
Go out and thank them because there was a lot of work and a lot of money spent. And I wonder if we knew the number when we get all these votes in of what was spent versus how many voted. It's probably not going to be pretty.
And I think all these guys, they care for Bedford County. They see things.
Absolutely.
And they have great ideas. So, I mean, you're right. We need to thank these. I mean, they ran a tough campaign, win or lose, whoever
That's
they
right.
are. They're good people and they need to be thanked.
Yeah, we got a long way to go.
We do. We're not calling it yet.
There's nobody has gotten in yet from any of the precincts. So we just got that absentee vote count thrown out by itself.
So
Now I hope that they separate these votes on the precinct, on the districts, because I've got my calculator, but it's hard to do that and keep everything updated as fast as everybody wants to hear the numbers. So we'll try to do the best we can. And just to recap there, we've got District 5 Commissioner Jeff Sweeney with 291, Kelly Finch with 140, Scott Johnson with 348. District 1, we have Eric Maddox with 131, Drew Hooker with 158, and Chris Sarsfield with 63. Bedford County Sheriff, we have Austin Swing with 1876, Matt Griffey at 792. And then we have County Mayor, 1,719 for Chad Graham, and Brent Smith with 933. And this is the early voting. So we're waiting out for our first bit of numbers to come in for District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we've got those 9 waiting for the 2 races of mayor and sheriff. And then we've got, of course, District 1, District 5 for commissioner that we're waiting on. So, guys, where we stand? What do you what's running through your mind? What are you guys thinking out there? If you're on Facebook, post a message. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you and just hear what you're thinking at the moment.
I think that it's just by looking at it, I thought it'd be a closer race, or it could have been either way like it is now. It could be Brent Smith at the 1719. I just I'm kind of torn at where I thought it would be closer there, and it still might be. But as far as the early turnout, I thought that maybe the sheriff would be the same. I thought it would be a little closer there. That's just my thought. Now the commissioner seats, there are some. That's pretty close in the District 1, 131 to 158. I mean, that's a few families,
Yeah.
But
But looking at the numbers here on the commission side of it, that bell buckle war trace is a big box too. I mean, that's bell buckle war trace. And of course, District 5 is big too, but if you look at it, a whole lot more people in early voting voted in the Flat Creek Normandy area than they did over here in the war trace.
Got a
bell buckle area.
question. This is for you.
Okay.
Question from a watcher on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
Who got District 6?
Well, we'll see in August, because me and Adam Thomas will be on the ballot.
That's going to be a fight.
That's going to be a fight.
All right. If y'all got some kind of standing bet about who's going to get the most
Oh, that's
votes there,
No.
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 To answer
No.
your question, District 6, this gentleman right here, Mr. Bill Anderson, along with Adam Thomas.
Adam's a really good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Really, really good guy.
And I look forward to having him on the show sometime.
We
Yeah,
got-
we'll get him on.
Talk to him, but
And also we've got, District 9, Biff Farah, Mark Thomas, and Robert Warren.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mention that.
Well, let's see.
well, ain't nobody asked about that, though.
Well, we're just going. I'm trying to.
Nobody.
I'm making a
I'm just kidding,
preemptive
right.
strike.
All right,
is what that
okay, just in case.
is. Just in case. And then did we mention District 2? Greg Vick and Tony Smith. District 3, Janice Brothers and Jason Sanders. 4 is we did mention 4. It's Anita, Brian Ferris, and
I
Diane.
thought someone else had qualified in 3. I didn't realize it was just Jason and James.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jason's a relative newcomer. He
Yeah.
stepped up and filled a gap there, and
Yes, he did.
looking forward to see him serving.
Yeah,
Jason's
And,
a really good guy, too.
yeah,
I like
really
Jason.
good guy.
Yep.
I love to have all the commissioners on here at some point just to get their take on
Right.
things. I know some people are afraid to say anything, but honestly, this is a open forum for the public to hear what's going on, and we want to do the best we can to get the message out to what's happening in our county. And,
Was there any turnout for the District 7 or 8? Is
Oh
there
my
any
goodness!
Numbers?
Here's another question come in. Do any of you expect another tax increase? Here's my thought on it. No, I'm not saying that won't be attempted, but I don't think.
Then you don't expect one.
But I don't expect it to happen if we're represented.
Bill Anderson will vote no, as I have to all the other tax increases that have
Okay.
been attempted.
That was loud.
However, with the growth that we have, there should be no reason to raise taxes. There shouldn't be. There should be an abundance of money from the growth. There should be no reason
there
to have to
should
raise
be.
taxes.
There should be. And then you hear wheel tax. That's a tax too. You hear people saying, well, that everybody has cars, then everybody have fair share. Well, they do that on the sales tax also.
They do, but the problem with the wheel tax becomes, let's say it's $25. You turn around, it's 50. Once you let us, the commission is, you let us start at 25, it's 50. Then you turn around, we've got it at 100. Then you turn around, it's 200. There's no stop to it. The only way a wheel tax could possibly work would be with a reduction in property taxes.
Does the commission have to vote to increase on the wheel tax?
Yes,
or
to
on
even
the-
have one. And what happened every time we've done it goes to referendum. And every time, 2 times that I remember it's gone to referendum, it got voted down by the voters of this county 2-1.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We've
it
done
was
twice.
Yeah,
It's
it
2 to
was
1.
I
done.
think I remember that.
And I don't think that there's a commissioner up there that will want to decide on a wheel tax. I think it always go to a referendum.
Well, and I think maybe it should.
It should, absolutely.
Because I promise you, the $25 I'm telling you about, once they see that money, it's 50. And look at the other counties it's happening. I believe Marshall County's already up to like $100. So it
So
starts
when you
off
go
one
get your
way.
tags,
that's-
you got to pay $150.
You've just opened up another avenue of revenue.
You sure have, and they usually don't go down on that, do they?
No, of course not.
All right, here's another question. I don't know where this is coming from exactly, but if a candidate loses tonight, are they still required to file their disclosure of financial interest statement with the Tennessee Ethics Commission?
Don't they have to do that before?
Well, you have to file every quarter.
Every quarter.
So
Okay.
after tonight, you would just file for, I guess, the
So
first
file,
quarter for the.
and that's it.
That's it.
And that's it. Okay. All right, that answers that question. Let's
Now,
see
I
what-
think if you're the incumbent, though, even though you're unopposed going into August, you would have to fill out the next
Right.
quarter as well.
All right, still waiting on those returns coming in from our districts out in the county and the city. Honestly, I thought we would already have several of them in. So there's a delay, and you predicted that right,
Just
Mr.
about.
Bill.
Yeah,
Well,
you never
it
know.
said Flat Creek, so I don't know. It might be.
But I think what happens is they're trying to give you the number when they give it to you. With the precinct, they want to put the early vote in with it. I think there's where your delay is. You're taking today's vote
yeah,
and culminating
I agree.
with the early vote and then giving you the precinct.
Well, she told me nobody's even come in yet.
Okay.
So they're waiting. I'm going to try to get an update here. But it's interesting questions that we had come in here. I really liked the question about District 6.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. All right. So let's see. Here's another one. Key point on answer to tax increases. If commissioners vote based on the voice of their constituents, I truly hope all of our commissioners recognize that they are representatives of their district. They are not there to represent their sole views. And I've been preaching that, and you have too. We all
we
have.
had we had a show on that.
Another comment was that if the inflation rate continues as it is, there will have to be tax increases, or there will be tax increases. How does that affect? How does inflation affect the way a government runs? Well, it affects business. You got a business. You know how inflation affects it. How does it? I mean,
but you've got the growth coming in. But I've always said this too, and they look at me like I'm crazy. You need to run the government like the business. It's the biggest business in this county is the government when you add it up, and it's not close.
Right.
That is your biggest business in Bedford County.
Right. So you're saying we could manage?
Yeah, absolutely. You can manage it. You've got the growth. If you've got a subdivision of the growth that you've got, that's new. Well, if they put 10 homes in, and that's $1,500 a pop.
Right.
Okay, that's $150,000 in new growth right there.
Yeah. So,
but I will go back on about increasing in taxes and things. Do we really understand how it affects elderly people? When you've got a man and his wife out here that are retired, they're on a fixed income, there's nowhere for a 75, 80-year-old person to go. So I know you want to increase things. What's that person supposed to do?
All right. Brent Smith and I I interviewed him. He wanted to talk about this, and I wanted to hear from him about this, which we got into a discussion about freezing those taxes and how it can be done. And other counties around are doing that, and there's a way to do it. The state allows it where you freeze it under certain conditions, and it's like a $40,000.
It's like 34, 33. It's too low, to be honest.
Okay, yes. But there's people in that category in this county.
There are.
There are. Here's my question to you, Bill. How do you get that done as one commissioner? Can you?
I couldn't.
How does it come up?
I think the last time, it got 7 or 8 votes, maybe. Because Brent brought it to the floor. And it got voted down.
Can you bring it to the floor?
I could, but unless you see this commission change the way it sits, they're not going to vote for it. Now, but do people realize that elderly person and that income is so low? If they're both just drawing Social Security, if it's just 2 people drawing Social Security, nothing else, you're over the threshold that the state's even set for anything. Right. And our elderly people is the forgotten class.
Yes, it is. It is. And they should.
And you've got a lot of elderly people in my district that I've talked to personally that have too much pride to ask for anything.
They do.
They grew up in a generation not like these younger ones.
But they deserve some type of tax incentive or
Well, just don't increase their taxes. I'm not saying give them a break, but I think at some point you've earned.
All right, we've got some news coming. We've got Thomas School, Fairhaven, East Side, and South Side. All these arrived, so we should start getting some results from there. Which that's all your city, and then you got Fairhaven just outside the city. So you got Thomas, East Side, South Side from inside the city limits. Expect low numbers there.
I expect.
Hey, let's do District 6 first.
District 6.
East Side.
You're okay. East Side is here, so we're going to get.
We'll get to District 6.
Shout out District 6. Go first.
All right,
your commissioner's working for you, District 6.
There was a comment.
All right.
Let me get back to it here. I'm like juggling things over here. So
you're doing a great job.
That Twitter phone's working out real good.
I slightly disagree about the business comparison when you're doing a tax dealing with the inflation rate. I slightly disagree. Businesses have to make money. Our county doesn't need to make money. They need to pay their bills, and that's it. 100% correct.
It is correct. But government never makes cutbacks. Government always grows. And if I've noticed this, if David asks for something and I don't give him more, he calls it a cut. I mean, that's just government for you. I've seen it too many times. If you just spend what you spent last year, well, that's a cut. You didn't give me more.
Just because you didn't get an increase.
Well, in business, if you do that and you keep raising your prices, guess what happens? People quit buying your product.
Buying, and then
next thing you know, you're out of business.
When we sat around in that round table back in 2018,
correct,
about the tax increase, we went around the room and we went. I remember this vividly because I keep thinking about it. And the question was asked, "When's the last time you had a raise yourself?" Because we're talking about raises for employees, which we want to raise employees when we can.
Everybody does.
Yeah, because we're in a market now and have to compete. And I remember that conversation. I don't think anybody in there had a raise for 4 or 5 years. I still ain't had a raise.
I don't think I have.
And it was like going on 10 years at that time. And nobody believed that.
But imagine
but
being
it's
an
the way
elderly
it is.
person. I'd hate to keep going back to it.
Hey,
But
gotta
here you
take
are,
care of it.
you're stuck. Now, the one thing that, and I think this senior citizen center is one of the best things in this city and county, but a lot of folks are too proud. And there's nothing, that's where you should, it does wonderful things for senior citizens. That's one of the best things this town's got going for it. Because what'll also happen is the said elderly, one of them passes away.
All right, guys. We got Thomas School. Sorry, we didn't get East Side.
All right.
Thomas School, we have for mayor 196 for Chad Graham, 111 for Brent Smith. Of course, we've got John Boutwell with 172 and Jason Boyette with 180. Sheriff Matt Griffey with 93, Austin Swing with 216. And that's all we're going to be getting from them.
Okay.
Because we don't have any.
And we assume this is with the early vote included with the precinct.
Yeah, well, we don't know that for sure, but that's the total they're giving us at the moment. Okay. There's nothing else on here. Johnny Reed got 24 votes. Somebody went up there and pulled a switch for him, even though he didn't need a vote. But that's complimentary votes.
That's it.
All right, so we got Thomas School. We're waiting on East Side, Fairhaven, and what was the other one I mentioned?
Southside?
Yes. So we're waiting on those now.
Well, looking at the numbers you just read, though, it's reading right from the Thomas School about where we were on the other. About the same.
Yeah, at those numbers, cumulatively, that's exactly where it's kind of reading.
Okay, I need those numbers again. If y'all can read them back to me for Austin Swing.
Austin Swing, 216.
216. Matt Griffey.
93.
93. Chad Graham.
196.
196.
And Brent Smith, 111.
111. And that's all we've got for those. So that gives a total now for Austin Swing, 2,092. And Matt Griffey, 885. Mayor Graham, 1915. Brent Smith, 1,044. So we're going to update these now. Let me get this number corrected here so I can keep the screen updated. And we won't hear anything else on our commissioner races until we get those from those districts. So what are you thinking, guys?
Well, you know, it's kind of echoed what the early voting is. Smaller turnout at Thomas. That's the Thomas reporting. Again, it's Chad 196, Chad Graham, and Brent Smith 111, and then the sheriff. This is District 8 at Thomas. You've got Matt Griffey at 93 and Austin Swing at 216.
So you're looking at maybe at Thomas here. If one of the early votes in here, not for sure, we don't know, but about 300 voted normally at that box. I remember them voting 700-800. So
yeah,
that gives you an idea of where the turnout is really, really, really low.
Yes, it is. It's very low, and I'm interested.
I mean, Thomas is one of your major city Shelbyville boxes. I mean, it's a big box. I mean, that goes all the way out Fairlane. Out
takes
that
a
way.
lot of
Takes
a lot of residential areas that way.
What is the biggest district that we have area-wide? No, area-wide. All the districts are voted up. They're divided up pretty equal on people, but what about land?
Land mass, it would be District 5 and District 4. And actually, I think now it's District 5. And 5 and 4 are the two biggest.
Well, not that matters.
From Flat Creek to Normandy, it's huge. I mean,
so you got a lot of people scattered out.
What about the population? Wow.
Well, they're all within
equally,
5,500,
But
5,400.
do you move the lines each time?
They're realigned.
10
Yeah. So that those districts stay. Now you're going to get a little skewed.
But it is skewed from the standpoint of registered voters. This is just a population
count,
not who's registered.
Right. Okay.
But your constituent level is supposed to be divided fairly equally. And that was realigned this year, wasn't it?
It was.
Okay, so we had a little bit of change where in District 1.
I remember. Okay.
Wasn't a whole lot of change, but actually some of that out there got smaller, not bigger.
Really? So it doesn't always get bigger.
Most of the growth was in the city of Shelbyville, not the county
Right.
per se. That's where most of the growth was.
It appears it might be where least of the voter turnout.
All right, so I got a comment on a side note. These closed captions don't translate Southern accents very well. We apologize.
No, they don't.
No, no. So that's one comment we got there.
We're in the South.
Well, you know, I know
we're in the South.
on one of them of our shows, it called me Boat, BOAT. Every time he called me Bo, so I'm all good with it. I've been called worse.
I hadn't called you Tyler yet.
No, you hadn't, or Ben. Thanks.
You're welcome. trying to keep that right anyway.
Yeah.
So I wrote it down. Don't call him Tyler. He's Bo.
Yep, not.
And I would never do the Ben thing to you.
No,
Not one time.
I wouldn't think so.
But we'll get a couple more of these precincts in here, but the numbers stay the same. I think it's.
Yeah, if the numbers do stay the
Unless
same,
you start to see something swap,
yeah, and you know, Bell Buckle, War Trace, Fairhaven,
the percentages just are what they are.
Okay,
I'm shocked it's not closer.
here's a question. I have a question for you, gentlemen. In a normal primary, no matter how many people are running for either Democrat or Republican in the race, you only have one winner. But like Flat Creek race, you said that 2 out of the 3 Republican candidates will go on to the general election.
Correct.
That is because we have 2 in that district.
Correct.
That is why. There's not one commissioner in the district. There's
There's
2.
two.
So there will be independents running against that. So you have 2 Republicans. The seats are filled for that party in that seat. So there's 2 candidates. So we got 2 Republicans running in August for that seat. So that,
And I'll go back to one
answers the
other
question.
thing. When you're looking at this, especially these commission races, it's because they got an R by their name. You better investigate them. It don't mean they're Republicans. I'm just telling you. I mean, you're either conservative with money or you're not. That's all I'm saying.
I think that the Republican Party and the Democrat Party should put voting records out.
Well, I think we've kind of merged right now. I mean, there's no one running Democrat, and they've all joined the Republican Party. Is what it looks to me.
It's right.
Well, I mean, you could still, though, when you run for office and you run as a Republican, the Republican doesn't the GOP of Tennessee review that?
They used to,
Okay.
but now I don't think they do.
Well, you're talking about if you're bona fide, like Republican and things
Yeah.
like that. I think they take that into consideration and they look back. But I mean, a lot of times in the past, if you wanted to say so in your county government, there were no Republicans running. So
No.
you had to vote in the Democrat if you wanted to have a say.
Right.
So, but you know, things change, and now it seems to be on the Republican side.
Yes.
So you know, and it's not really a party thing. It's it's constant. I'm a constitutionalist is what I would like to describe my, and a conservative constitutionalist.
Well, my question to you guys is just nationwide, not just, I'm not saying Bedford County. I think it's really diluted in Bedford County as to what a conservative is. But I think the Republican Party has moved farther left than I've ever seen it, the way things are today. Even though Donald Trump came in and drew a line, we still have a Republican Party that I wouldn't consider completely conservative. I don't see it. What do y'all think?
Well, the Republicans are in power, and they want to naturally grow power by growing, and you get away from where your core is.
That's right. You get away from that, and then you get away from not wanting to be a representative, and they run from people like Donald Trump.
All right, here comes your east side.
All right, District 6.
District 6, east side. We've got Chad Graham with 130 votes and Brent Smith with 94. We have Matt Griffey with 75, Austin Swing 151. All right, that is east side. Now south side, we have Chad Graham with 251, Brent Smith with 150. Okay, for sheriff, we have Matt Griffey with 123, Austin Swing with 284. All right. That was south side.
Mm-hmm.
Aiken. We have Chad Graham with 262 and Brent Smith 118. For sheriff, Matt Griffey 128, Austin Swing 276. Okay. That's the totals we've got there. All right. That was Aiken. Is that right? Or
Mhm.
South Side?
That was Aiken.
All right. Now we've got Unionville.
This
This
it
could
right
be
here.
this is going to be a big one.
Matt
Yep.
might went. Matt
All right.
Griffey, this is
All right. We
close.
got Chad Graham, 293. Brent Smith, 201. Okay. Matt Griffey, 239. Austin Swing, 259. Okay.
Very close.
That was a close one
That's
there.
very close.
Hayes in the barn, boys.
239.
Hayes in the barn. This thing's over.
Yeah, it's looking
over.
that way.
It is over.
Let's get these totals up, and I'll get these totals up on the.
Still, now we still want to hear a little more about District One, maybe.
Yeah,
District
we
Five.
got. We need to hear. We need
Yeah.
to hear a war trace and
I
bell.
think the sheriff's race, your mayor's race is over. Congratulations to Sheriff Swing, Mayor Graham.
It's looking that way. Let's
Yeah.
get these.
Because I just don't
up-to-date
see where you're
numbers.
going to make anything up when you're losing all the
I
precincts.
agree.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
do have District 1, 2, and
Okay.
4 and 5 yet reported, but
Just don't see it.
no, it seems that the numbers. I mean, that Unionville.
All right, Aiken.
Right.
We got. All right. Let me start with
All right.
Aiken.
Swing,
Swing,
you got 276,
276, and then Griffey,
128,
128. Graham,
262,
Smith,
118.
118. All right, East Side.
East side.
Graham,
got 130. Brent Smith 94. East Side, Matt Griffey 75. Austin Swing 151.
Okay. All right. Now let's go to South Side.
Chad.
Swing.
Swing 284 to Matt Griffey 123.
Graham.
Graham 251. Brent at 150.
All right. What else we've got there? That's it.
Unionville
Unionville. Yes. Let's go with Unionville Swing.
259.
Griffey.
239.
239. Graham.
293.
Smith.
201.
201.
That was your closest.
But you go back and you do look and see this, though. It does look like the county, Unionville, voted a little heavier. Looking at it, right? I mean, there was about
They
500 people
They
voted
did.
there.
And you know that's kind
That's
of
higher than any of these other boxes we've gotten in.
and that's kind of Matt's.
Well, we're over
home
4.
area,
Hey,
too.
we're over 4,000 votes now, guys.
Okay.
We're
So that was
we're
more
40.
election day
We're
than
about
we thought.
4,500, and we still got some
Might
big.
get 5,000.
We got some pretty big precincts
We'll get
coming in.
5,000.
But
All
when
right,
you
so-
see, unless you see a trend change here, it is what it is.
The trend is what it is.
Yeah,
and-
that
and it's not
Unionville though
changing.
is the closest. It's kind of the
Yes.
outlier out of all of them so far. It's been the closest. That's most of them have been like 70-30 or maybe 60-40. But that one was really close.
All right, I'm gonna get these totals up, Dave, for everybody. This is a privilege for y'all. We can do math here, sort of. So you're getting to kind of see the behind the scenes while things are going on right in front of you.
You see how it all works.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do when you're trying to engage in a conversation and try to do these numbers too.
You're doing a great job.
Not really. All right, so
I could just start aggravating Bo.
You could start calling me Tyler.
I could. But I won't do Ben.
Okay.
I'm not going to do Ben.
You can do that to Tad.
I do have tad of love that. Absolutely.
yeah, we had Ben was going to be with us tonight, but he couldn't. He couldn't make it because he had
Walker had a baseball game. I think
2 baseball games.
They got
rained out.
Is the way it turned out.
It got rained out yesterday or something, so we missed Ben. But
All right, so we've got now. I'm not
Alright.
sure if I got this right or not.
you yell it out, and we'll get back at you. So we've got so far we're waiting for District 1, which is Bell Buckle War Trace Report. District 2, Fairhaven. District 4, Bedford, which would be the Wheel Community. District 5, Flat Creek and Normandy. All others.
You would think Fairhaven would probably be the next one in. Be closer to town.
Yeah, I'd say you're correct there. So we've got up-to-date numbers
Again, I
on the
think that's-
mayor race.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fairhaven's going to be a big box for the mayor and the sheriff, too.
I do too. I think that's
Don't
a
be a
good
big
turnout.
fan.
Bedford will usually have pretty good turnout there, but I mean, you got Flat Creek, you've got some pretty good districts left. I mean, but you know, saying all that to see what has been turned in, it's
We're still waiting on what we got. Flat Creek and Normandy, and War Trace and Bell Buckle for these two other commissioner races that we're watching.
Right.
And those are still close.
Yeah,
and
that
could go
district,
any way.
yeah.
Well, there was enough, apparently, election day vote maybe to do some of these two commissioner races, maybe.
it's looking like it. I mean, you know, it looks like you were having close to. You know,
Oh, we got Bedford.
okay, Bedford.
All right, we have
Wheel area.
Bedford.
Yeah, Wheel.
Chad Graham, 372. Brent Smith, 285. All right, we've got Matt Griffey, 229. Austin Swing, 432. All right, we got War Trace.
You got War Trace, Bell Buckle.
No, this is just War Trace.
Just War Trace. Oh, just War Trace reporting, but it's the same District 1.
District 1 coming. Chad Graham, 250. To Brent Smith, 140. Okay. In the commissioner race, 226 for
What was the
Mr.
sheriff there? We had the sheriff's race on War
That's
Trace.
coming.
Okay.
Drew Hooker with 226. Eric Maddox, 163. Chris Sarsfield, 73.
It's kind of stayed the same there.
All right. Matt Griffey, 107.
Is this in?
War
Same,
Trace.
yeah, I'm not changing yet.
Okay.
Okay, 107, 289. All right. Now let's see. That's got us caught up. War Trace in Bedford. I
Okay.
need numbers now for that District 1 race for that was War Trace. I need Maddox,
Maddox was 163,
163. Hooker,
226,
226. Sarsfield,
73.
73. All right. So that gives us a total 294 for Mr. Eric Maddox, 384 for Drew Hooker, and Chris Sarsfield with 136. So we've got an update to make there.
So
on
Eric
our-
Maddox and Drew Hooker will be moving forward to face.
Well,
Mr. Gallagher.
we still have Bell Buckle
Okay.
coming in District
That
1.
is true.
So we don't know what's.
Would you
it'd
expect
be-
more of a turnout at Bell Buckle or War
I-
Trace?
I
Still,
really
you can
don't
tell
know.
the trend in
The
these
trend
numbers
is
was the
just-
same.
The
Yeah.
trend
It's
is the same, and
The
that's
trends have been the same. Yeah, it's
So it's been fairly consistent here.
Yep.
And the mayor's carried every box, the sheriff's carried every box.
Yes.
Some by more than others.
that's true.
And that's just, it is what it is.
okay. So we're still waiting on Flat Creek,
Flat Creek, Normandy, or
Flat Creek and Normandy.
yep. And we're waiting on Bell Buckle and we're waiting on Fairhaven.
Okay. I need those totals again.
What you
Let's
want
see.
running?
No, I got them. Never mind. So, are you guys ready to call any of these?
I think you can call it.
I think that that you can probably call it. I mean, we've seen after report, and nothing's really changed. So a few of them might have been a little closer, like the Unionville with Matt Griffey 239 to Austin's 259. But those are the kind of the outliers. I think what we're seeing is the incumbent mayor Chad Graham will be the victor, and then in the sheriff's race, it looks like the incumbent Sheriff Austin Swing will also be the victor in this 2022 primary.
And congratulations to the Sheriff Swing. And congratulations to the mayor on the victory.
Yes, congratulations.
And also, I mean, good hard work by Brent Smith and by Matt Griffey as well. I mean, it was.
They were working it
They
hard.
worked it hard.
They worked
did.
it very hard.
They worked it hard.
They sure did. So hats off to
Hats off to
young
everybody.
gentlemen. And good well wishes ahead for the sheriff and the county mayor
Absolutely.
as we go forward. Yeah, so the turnout, I mean, we've still had, I don't know that, but it looks like we're going to be.
We did a little better on election day than what we were thinking when
Yeah.
we got in here anyway.
Yeah, I
'Cause we
think
were all
so.
worried that we weren't going to break 4,000.
I
It
think,
appears
yeah.
that we have.
I think after work, maybe more people turned out after 5 o'clock. I mean,
Well, let me ask one more question. is there a chance all these numbers were commingled again? Or was this see what I'm saying? Is there a
Does
chance
that
that's
happen?
right?
Does that happen before?
Yeah, I mean,
so
I'm just wondering
explain that to the
if everything
people.
you're getting here is the early voting.
So you're thinking
I'm
we
just thinking-
double? We could be
I
double
think we
counting.
could be doubling it. I think possible.
I mean, these reports don't show up that way,
I know.
but they possibly could.
They possibly could.
Yeah.
All right, we've got Normandy coming in now.
Okay, we got Normandy coming in. Normandy.
Normandy, we've got Chad Graham with 163 votes, Brent Smith with 99, and District 5,
85.
Kelly Finch, 85. Scott Johnson, 129. Jeff Sweeney, 149. In the sheriff race, Matt Griffey with 50. Austin Swing with 216.
Matt Griffey with 150. Did you say?
I don't know. What did I say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
216.
If you ask me, it's gone.
Yeah, I
So,
know. Well, that's good.
um,
Bill's got it, so I'm good.
Matt Griffey, 50, 216 to Austin.
216 to 50, right?
That is correct.
All right.
Still waiting on some more to get in here. Let me get those numbers updated. District 5, that was that was Normandy, correct?
Mhm.
All
Like
right,
the Commissioner
Sweeney.
District 5. This was a little different.
Sweeney.
Actually, Mr. Sweeney
149.
and Johnson,
All right,
129.
Sweeney was
Yeah.
149.
149 and Scott Johnson, 129.
So that
Okay,
changed from
and
the other.
Finch,
Right. That's the only change I've
Finch.
seen in anything so far. Finch right 85.
It is.
85.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that gives a total now 440 for Sweeney, 477 for Scott Johnson, and 225 for Kelly Finch. 440, 477, 225. Okay.
And we're probably.
I'm trying to work this spreadsheet, and I'm trying to keep an up to
You're
date
doing
number
good,
here.
like I say. You
Let's
just
see,
Keep on rolling.
Let me check, see if we've got any other results coming in, and we don't. So now we've got an update for the Commissioner District 5 race coming up on the screen here just in a second.
And it's going to be safe to call this one too, because Flat Creek's not going to change this that much.
You don't think?
Nope.
There's some pretty close there, but
Two of them
it's just
go,
number
one of them
one and
doesn't.
two.
That's true.
So 1 and 2 could change,
So,
yes, but
you
two of
know,
them are going.
if Jeff and Scott Johnson had a side bet, they might want to know.
That's right.
I mean,
That's
don't-
right. Of course.
They're
All
right.
right. And of course,
Because
that,
it doesn't really matter.
They don't have
going to
a say.
advance.
of course, our elected officials wouldn't be doing that.
No, of
So,
course not.
All right, so we got 225.
So we're waiting right now on Flat Creek
And Fairhaven
and Bell Buckle.
and Belleville.
We need
Yeah.
Bell Buckle. Do we need Bell Buckle? Yeah, I think we still need Bell Buckle. We got word.
Oh yeah, we're waiting on Bell Buckle and
Fairhaven and Flat Creek.
and Flat Creek.
So all but 3 have reported. And I guess you got the totals up there. What's the total on the mayor?
Well, we've got the total for Mayor Chad Graham, 2,851. Brent Smith, 1,607. Sheriff, Austin Swing, 3,062. Matt Griffey, 1,450. District 1 Commissioner, Maddox, 294. Hooker, 348. Sarsfield, 140. And in Sweeney, we have 440. In District 5 Commissioner race, 440 for Sweeney, 477 for Johnson, and 225 for Finch. So we're still waiting on these final precincts to come in.
Did you get a District 7 commissioner?
There's not a District 7. Sylvia Pinson runs in the.
Oh, that's right. Julie and
Julie, that's-
Julie
I
and
don't know,
Brian.
still should have had
yeah,
something.
there's some totals, but I
There
ain't
should
got
be
them.
some. Okay.
It's not pertinent. They're both moving forward,
They
so
are.
we didn't put them on the table. Not that it doesn't count, because I'm sure they got some complimentary votes there.
They probably did, because John Boutwell got 172.
172, Jason Boyd at 180.
There's too much to keep up with, so we're going with the ones that's rolling here.
That sounds good to me.
All right, so we still are waiting on Fairhaven, War Trace, and Bell Buckle.
Yeah.
Let's just take a break here for a second. Guys, again, thanks for tuning in tonight. We're going to have some of these final returns coming in from the districts we're waiting on. Let's just pause now for a quick break.
Yes.
All right, we're back with you again. And just to update on our figures, Bill, do you want to explain what's happening here?
What I thought we think has happened, and that is when we're getting these precincts, what they did is they took what you did election day and put it with the early voting. And then when we gave you the early voting, we're adding it to it. We were basically doubling it. So I think the turnout was really, really low. And we gave you these numbers like War Trace, 250 for Mayor Graham and 140 for Brent Smith. That's the early vote and today included. So the trends are the same. The percentages are the same. It's just your turnout's a lot lower.
I want to read you something here on Normandy. Okay, this is just one district. There are 1,350 registered voters. Okay, voter turnout was 274. That's 20.3%. 134 of them voted on election day. 139 walked in early voting. One absentee. So you see the breakup right here. So the voting's not nearly as much as what we're showing, but the percentages are
All
the same. And this is mass confusion when you're trying to put this together.
Yes.
But these are going to be the same. Now we've got Flat Creek here. Let's take a look at it. And we can't get these numbers together. We'd have to have 5 people sitting up here.
But the percentages are still going to be the same.
Now,
and the trends have been the same.
Yes.
In Flat Creek, there's 2,495 registered voters. 28.22% voted. That's 704 people voted out of 2,495. That's not good.
No.
Is it that people just don't care,
Apathetic.
or what is it? That's the conversation.
They just don't. A lot of people just don't care.
Okay,
might be one in a family of 6 that cares, maybe.
And typically, your older people vote, and your younger people don't.
But I heard that we had younger people.
I heard that
voting.
same thing you heard.
Okay, so there's a lot of questions to take from this.
And a lot of people weren't going to vote in a primary. The fact it was a primary caused it. Obviously, that had a lot to do with
this.
It
Was the election,
and they, yeah.
All right, 437 at Flat Creek walked in early. 258 voted on election day. So 258 people showed up at Flat Creek Day to vote. I thought there'd be about 300. That's where I typically vote. I voted early, of course, but all right, on the Flat Creek response turnout, 443 for Chad Graham, 232 for Brent Smith. That includes all those in early voting.
That includes early voting.
Early voting.
All these figures include early voting.
So we can take when we take this out, I can wax early voting out.
Yeah,
numbers are going to be correct.
You can just add it up, right?
You can take out that
so
number.
I'm going to do that now because it doesn't mean anything. The early voting means absolutely nothing since there are always
What about the sheriff's race and the commissioner's race in Flat Creek?
All right. Let's see. On Flat Creek, we have Mr. Chad Graham with 443, Brent Smith with 232. County Commissioner Kelly Finch, 149. Scott Johnson, 416. Jeff Sweeney, 356. For Sheriff, Matt Griffey, 183. Austin Swing, 495. And of course, Michelle Murray, she's racking up a bunch of votes down there. I think she might win this thing.
She might.
Y'all think?
She might.
All right, so I'm gonna go back into my spreadsheet and pull all of these early votes out and give these candidates the correct numbers, because I know they're saying, "Wow, a lot of people voted." And let's just see how real this is after we pull this out. All right, so I'm gonna need some numbers from you guys.
Okay.
We've got. I need Normandy for sheriff.
150 Matt Griffey.
Okay, I need
50.
Swing. I need Swing.
216.
It was 50.
50.
It's 50, not 150.
Yeah, you're right.
50 to 216.
All right, and 50 on Griffey. Okay, Graham.
163.
163.
99.
99. Okay, I need Flat Creek.
Go for it.
Flat
But
Creek.
let's go. Let's go and get Maddox, Hooker, and Sarsfield since we're on
All right.
Normandy. Maddox.
Maddox 163.
Okay, Hooker
226. Sarsfield 73.
73.
Yes.
I've got 136. 73 was early vote number. You may
Yeah,
be right.
that's right. So what was Sarsfield's on the
136.
136?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that gets us some update totals. I'll get those changed on the caption. Okay. So we've got. Hold on. That's in the wrong spot there. Hold on. Okay. Okay, War Trace for Maddox,
War Trace from Act 163.
226.
Yep, and 136.
136. Okay.
Yep.
All right. We'll get those updated now. We've got Flat Creek for Swing,
495.
495. Smith, Griffey,
174.
174 for Graham,
443.
443,
232.
232. And then we've got Sweeney,
356.
356,
Scott Johnson, 416.
416.
Kelly Finch, 149.
149. So, okay, that's going to wrap that election up right there.
Yep.
The total is Jeff Sweeney, 505, Scott Johnson, 545, and Kelly Finch with 234. And those are the correct totals.
Yep.
We had those early votes counted twice. I wish we could separate that out as we're going along. We might as well just.
It didn't change the percentages, everything, but the
Yeah.
turnout was really,
Yes.
really low.
Yeah, that's what these turnouts were ballooned up with these
Yes.
other votes counted back, double back. So,
Double.
but the percentage, I think we still got to have the conversation of why people won't get out and vote. And I guess that's on every election. You got to have more people vote.
But why did half vote again than voted 4 years ago? That's the trend here. That's not
Maybe
good.
it's the primary thing like
Maybe.
we talked about. Maybe.
But for years, your general election was the Democratic primary.
Right.
Let's go back 20 years ago.
it was all Democrat. And
I mean, I'm kind of like Barbara Mandrell. I was Republican when it wasn't cool. I mean, I remember you couldn't get a Republican anywhere. And I would go to them things and do and go. And you couldn't find one around here. And if you wanted to run locally, so I don't know if the primary argument does it here.
Yeah.
Because that was the general election until recent years.
That's true.
All right. Well, let's talk
Right.
about District 5 in August, Bill. Go
Here
talk
we go.
about this. All right.
This one's going to be
That's a
interesting.
5-man lineup,
Oh, Lord.
5-horse race going into that.
You've got Bo Wilson and Linda Yockey. Linda's the incumbent. Jeff Sweeney's an incumbent. Bo Wilson's been on there for over 20 years. Bo is very conservative, very outspoken. He's a good guy. And then, of course, you got Scott Johnson, who was the director of EMA, and he's done very well election day. It looks like he actually got a few more votes than Mr. Sweeney did, although they both come forward. And then you got Jim Walker and Tracy, what's her last name? Stassner.
Stassner, yeah.
And she
All right.
runs a Flat Creek store down there. So
Need-
she's going to know a lot of people.
Need some numbers from you. War Trace.
More trace. What do you need?
I need the number swing.
Swing. You got 289.
Is that what you got, Bill?
Yep.
Griffey?
107. You don't
Correct.
you don't trust my numbers, do you?
Yeah, I do. Is that what you got?
Chad 250.
250.
Brent 140.
140.
You got, Bill?
That's what I got.
All right, good job, guys. All right,
Okay, good
what
luck.
else? What are we waiting on here? We got Fairhaven.
Waiting on
You're right,
Fairhaven
Fairhaven.
and Bell Buckle. We need Bell Buckle.
What about Bedford? Did we get Bedford?
We have Bedford.
We
Okay,
got
I
Bedford.
need numbers for Bedford. Swing.
All right. Swing 432,
But they had a pretty good group right there now. Griffey.
229.
That's a good number of people there.
Yeah, that is a
isn't
good
that?
number.
All right, Graham.
372. 285.
285. Okay.
Chunks on there.
All right, so I
And
need.
you got an interesting commissioner race coming up there in August for that one too. You'll
all
have
right,
three
so
on
we're
it.
waiting on
Yes.
Bell Buckle and Fairhaven.
Waiting on Bell Buckle and Fairhaven. District part of District 1 and District 2.
Okay, and we'll try to get these numbers updated for the screen so everybody can see these numbers. Man, I wish we had some kind of fancy computer that was just hooked up. And I just punch a button, all that pop up there, man. This is too much work, guys.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, we know who's won.
Can you give me a raise?
I can't.
Okay. All right.
You need one.
You do need one.
Let's see.
We
We
just have to
got,
pay 10 cents an hour today.
all right. Let's see, 1430. All right. So talk about that race again.
Well, the one out in Union was going to be really interesting too. It's coming up out in the Bedford area because no one ran the primary. It's all general.
Right.
So now you're going to have Anita Epperson and Brian Ferris are the two incumbents going against Diane Neely, who's been on the school board for years. All three of them, I believe, are from the area, like lifelong residents. So you're going to have, it'll be very interesting here
It will
because,
be.
you know,
They know a
they're
lot
all
of people.
homegrown. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
So, and they all have lived there their whole lives, as far as I know. So that one will be interesting. Only two of them are going to win. And of course, the hope here is that you're going to have maybe a better turnout in August for these commissioner races than what we've had now. Of course, their district actually did pretty well. Flat Creek had a pretty good turnout.
Yeah,
It does appear that the town turnout was bad, especially on election day.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we predicted.
Okay. We're waiting on Bell Buckle.
Yes.
We have Bell Buckle.
We got Bell Buckle.
Chad Graham, 143. Brent Smith, 121. Drew Hooker, 140.
Hooker.
Eric Maddox, 126. Chris Sarsfield, 72.
Right.
Okay.
Same trend continued
Yeah.
on the county
It's the
commissioner
same,
race.
it's the same
thing.
trend.
Same
It's
percentages.
pretty
All right.
close on the chat.
Sheriff, we got Matt Griffey with 81. Austin Swing with 185.
The Bell
And-
Buckle City, the mayor race was closer than a lot of them, but that wasn't the case in the sheriff race.
How did those two pair with each other percentage wise, do you think, guys? It looks like they're pretty close. They're within 5 percentage points of the gap there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this and I'm gonna say that
What has to be disappointing for Brent was he won by a large margin 3.5 years ago as a county commissioner,
right.
and he didn't do as well here as you would have thought he would have done.
Yeah. But he put the work in. There's
Yeah, he
no
put the work
question.
in,
There's
especially out there he did.
no question
No
about
question.
that. All right. So now we've got need some updates coming up. But back on that other district, we never did finish the conversation on, Bill.
Which one we're talking about?
District-
Anita Epperson and
Yeah,
Brian
yeah,
Ferris and
that one
Diane
right
Neely.
there. Go over that situation.
Well, that's just interesting because you got the two incumbents, and then you got Diane Neely, who's been elected all these years to the school board, and they're all from that area. Their families are from that area, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Because Diane's husband, Kim Neely, everybody knows Kim Neely.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, and everybody likes Kim Neely.
All right. Waiting on Fairhaven.
Wait on Fairhaven.
I need those numbers now from Swing, Griffey, and Bell Buckle.
Swing 185.
Okay, Griffey.
Matt Griffey 81.
Alrighty.
Chad Graham 143.
Okay.
To Brent Smith 121.
Okay. And then we've got Maddox.
126. Drew Hooker 140. and Chris Sarsfield 72.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I got to get these numbers out there so we can keep everybody updated on where that one is. And that's a
And
final.
that's the same trend too. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a
Eric
final.
Maddox and Drew Hooker moving forward, but thank you to Chris Sarsfield for running too.
Definitely.
Yep, good guy.
Good guy.
All three
I
great
like all
guys.
three of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, good
yeah.
luck.
And I know that Chris is going to back those two guys while they move
Absolutely.
forward.
They really had a good campaign. They were similar there. You couldn't. There's not a bad guy in that.
No, sure wouldn't.
Okay, sorry for the interruption. go back at it.
Well,
again. Try.
Really, it just wasn't much anything to it except that they're all from there. Their families are from there. Then you got Anita Epperson. She cuts hair. Her family's down there. Brian Ferris is the SOR officer.
So
at Liberty
everybody
School.
just really knows everybody. So I mean, it's
already
gonna be-
knows these stories, so
it's
it's
gonna
going to
be
be
a
really
competition.
interesting to see how that comes out.
It will be, and I don't think there's a bad candidate there. I just think it'll be interesting because of what you said.
Right.
The
The
roots
families and
there.
the roots that are in that district.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Diane Neely, and you said she's been on the
School
board for how many years?
years. She's probably
Years and years.
Not giving the exact total, but I'd say she's been on there a long time.
Yeah.
Well, my wife's been on the school board since like 2010. She's been on there several years before that. So I'm gonna say she's been on there close to 20 years.
Yeah.
God, it's hard to believe I'm this old too.
What?
Old. Look, I was gray hair.
Did you have any
numbers?
numbers? I know. Look, it
I'm
ain't
getting
that
there.
bad yet.
I'm getting there.
Did you have any numbers for District 7 or not?
I don't.
You don't even
They're
know.
on there. They won. Congratulations.
I'm just trying to
Barbara.
inform the people.
They won.
They
All
want
right.
to know the numbers.
I ain't got no
Some people-
numbers for that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If there's somebody that's got them, but I don't have them. We don't have them on this show.
Well, I'm just.
but we'll have them both in for
I just-
consolation prizes.
It's
All right.
bothering me that there's no
Where's
number. I
Brent?
don't have a
Get-
number.
Get Brian Brenton in here. Get Julie in here, and we'll let them talk
Right.
about.
I don't
what
have a
they're
number above their name, so
So-
it's bothering me. So,
So
I'm good.
And
what
that will be
happened-
contested. Now, let's just talk about that for a second. It will be contested in the fall.
Well,
You got
Sylvia.
Brian Britton, Julie Sanford, and Sylvia
Sylvia
Benson.
Benson.
That's right. It will be.
So is Sylvia running as an independent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she
All
is.
right. So
The only person that I'm aware of that ran Democrat was Johnny Reed, correct?
that's the only one I saw.
That's the one I saw.
So how? Never mind. I'm not even going to ask that question. How in the world does that happen? But at any rate,
Totals.
okay, these are official totals.
Yeah, the official totals in.
Unofficial.
Unofficial.
I don't even know how to read them.
Unofficial totals.
But at any rate, I'm gonna try to get these things updated.
Did they have Fairhavens?
It's probably in there. Did you send Fairhavens in?
Twice.
You sent it twice. Okay.
Here.
We're getting live totals as we speak.
There's Fairhaven. All right. Here's Fairhaven.
Here's all of them.
Just keep them. We don't need them. We're good. Chad Graham, 370. Brent Smith, 268.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Vick got 501. You don't have to write that down. Matt Griffey, 246. Austin Swing, 394.
246 to 394.
All right, let me update the spreadsheet on that. So Fairhaven Swing had what?
394.
394.
And Griffey 246.
246. And Mayor's Race,
Chad Graham 370.
370.
Brent Smith 268.
Okay, that gives our complete election results. And the way it finishes is Austin Swing 3197, Matt Griffey 1545. Mayor's Race, Chad Graham 2873, and Brent Smith 1819. District 1, we had 289 votes for Eric Maddox, Drew Hooker 366, Chris Sarsfield 208. And then we had Jeff Sweeney in District 5 with 505 votes, Scott Johnson with 545, Kelly Finch with 234. And that wraps up the four races that we were really going to focus on tonight. The others are uncontested, as we've been talking about.
Yeah, looks like we've got the people have spoken. So, I mean, congratulations again to Mayor Chad Graham, Austin Swing, as that will be run. This was the election here. So congratulations to both of them and for the others that have won. Again, you got District 1, Eric Maddox, 289, Drew Hooker, 366, and Sarsfield, 208. The numbers, just to let you have them again, is Chad Graham, 2873, Brent Smith, 1819, 1,819.
So 61%, basically 61.35% to
Yeah.
38.50.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
About opposite of what your poll was.
Yeah, it's an exact flip.
Just almost exactly. The sheriff's race was even wider.
yeah,
67.28% to 32.7%. The total votes on this sheet are 4,725 for the whole county. So that means
4,000. Say that again.
4,725 total votes for today. Well, for the whole election.
The
That's
whole-
the whole shoot match, 4,700. So
All right, well,
2,800 early voted.
We were hoping for 4,000.
So it really was better than what we thought.
With
It's still
5,000
bad. We didn't get to
better.
5.
But still,
We
out of
close.
how many registered voters in Bedford County? It's got to be 30 something.
Registered voters, 27,765.
Come on, we can step it up.
All
We
right.
got to step it up.
All right,
Voter
that's-
turnout was 18%.
18%.
voter
There it is,
turnout.
right there.
18%.
Okay, so the question becomes, and I'm going to toss this out there, and we're going to talk about it later. What gets people excited to vote? I mean, do they just not care?
Or is it nationally driven and it takes a presidential race? Does it take
I think
a
that's what it does.
congressional
I don't think
race?
they get.
And people don't care about local stuff. Is that what
I
it
think
is?
it takes.
It should be the opposite.
It should.
It should be, but I think it takes an issue or a cry or some kind of.
There's plenty of issues.
Well, there is, but I'm talking about like something personal or something that
There
really
is.
gets into them.
That's the thing.
But-
People don't see that.
But they're not.
Maybe
not
if our
out.
general elections were in the fall and our primaries were in August. Well, I'm just
It could-
saying
it could.
because people are going to come. I guarantee you this
Okay.
fall, people are going to the ballot. They don't like this gasoline.
I
They
got-
don't like
I-
what's going
oh, I
on in
guarantee,
Washington.
yeah.
People are going to the
All right,
polls.
so
folks.
so one topic that came up during this election in the mayor's race was that tax freeze for seniors that we mentioned earlier. To me, that alone in itself should have been a topic for people to jump all over and say, "Hey, I like that. I like that idea." So win, lose, or draw, Brent Smith brought that to the
He
table. He brought it up before. Now it's got to be brought up again by somebody.
Again,
all
back
this
to the senior
commission.
citizen thing that we were talking about, though. Where does that person have to go? He's got nowhere to go. Nowhere. He
Exactly.
can't go out and go get a job. He's 80 years old. Or if their spouse passes away, and a lot of these horror stories I've heard, they live on Social Security. Well, when the spouse dies, guess what?
Yeah,
You just lost
You're
half your
done.
income.
yeah, you can't pay
So
those
if
property
that's all
taxes.
you got.
And all your money, yeah.
Because when your spouse passed away, but you've lost half your income.
If you put somebody on an $18,000 a year salary, okay, that's what they're making, and you throw them a bill of property taxes. Let's say they got a little acreage out in the county,
Right.
and that's what they're making. They're doing good to have it upkept to begin with. You throw them a $2,000 tax bill. What does that do to
It
them?
forces them to sell the
Sell their
property,
property.
and then probably Global Homes or one of these national places going to come in and put a subdivision in.
Well,
And eventually on that, we lose our identity of agriculture. We lose our identity as Bedford County.
right. We don't need to.
We
We
don't
don't
need
need
to
to
do that.
lose that identity. And I think in August when we come up, we've got our sheriff. Okay, we've got our mayor, Republican candidate
likely.
moving forward. And I'll just say this: it's going to be a tough battle for anybody to beat him.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so you got that set in place. Now we
Absolutely.
have a commission. That's where the key is.
That's your key.
If we have 4 or 5 people that come on board that have conservative values,
And I encourage you in your district, call these people up, talk to them.
I'm going to invite personally.
And I hope you have them all on.
I want everybody on here talking about the subject matter. Now I've asked some, and no, they're just not going to do it because maybe they're camera shy or whatever. But I don't think you can be camera shy in this day and time.
You don't
to
need
be
to
a
be.
county
If you're a
commissioner.
county commissioner, you need to
Yeah.
you need to have that input from your constituents at
Yeah.
all times. I mean, you know,
Well, you should be able to articulate what the problems are that you're dealing with to your constituents. If you can do that, you can stand right here and have a conversation.
it shouldn't be that
So,
hard.
so that floor is open and that invitation is going to stand. All right. So if there's any candidates out there that's going to be running in August that wants to sit down and talk, we'll have a conversation. The invitation is open right now for everybody. All you got to do is contact me here at Shelbyville Now on Messenger or send an email to admin@shelbyvillenow.com.
Or Twitter.
I don't have Twitter.
They banned it.
You got a Twitter phone?
That ain't a Twitter phone.
They're all
That's
on
a
the
Twitter phone.
Everybody makes fun of my phone. Everybody
Twitter
makes
phone.
fun. You got a flip
Looks like a
phone.
flip
What
phone.
are you talking about?
I'm the last to hold.
I'm getting back to the flip.
That's
All
right.
right, guys. I think it's time to wrap this up. I just want to thank our sponsors again. First Bank. We got their cap sitting back here next to Elvis.
Yeah.
Thank you, First Bank, for being a part of our programming here. Also for Craig and Wheeler Realty and Auction. Thank you, Ben and Tad, for stepping up to the plate here and making this possible. And for the Winter Circle. Thank you guys for being our sponsors. And we're gonna close out the show now. Thanks for watching, and watch for some stuff coming up real soon. I know Bill and I are going to do some stuff. Bo and I are going to continue with our ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the curve.
And then we've got a lot of special editions coming up. So
And congratulations to all those tonight. Again, a big shout out to those winners and those losers. Great campaign on all sides. So just
Takes a lot of guts to run, and thank everyone that ran.
thank you for
Thank
everybody.
everybody who ran.
And I thank everybody that came on Shelbyville Now and told their story.
Yep.
And again, it's open for everybody. Guys, thank you very much for being
Absolutely,
here,
Dave.
Bill.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you
Always.
both for being
Yes,
here.
sir.
Sorry Ben couldn't be
And I
here.
never called him Tyler.
Didn't do it
Never
the whole
called
time.
Tyler.
One time.
Good job.
One time.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. And until we see you again.